Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. So guys, we're going to be building an unkillable team, probably the most effective budget man-eater and painkeeper unkillable team I've seen. So credit goes to Smooth B32 who brought this to me, and he said that Bobo, Wistix and Endox were all kind of in the mix of building this team. This team does something that I've never seen before, and actually something which I didn't even think was possible. So it brings in an ally attack champion whilst using Painkeeper, and it doesn't throw out all of your comp. I don't really understand how it doesn't or why it doesn't, but it works. I've tested it. It's worked every time I've tested it so far. You've also got a team that can run on Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare with one simple change, which is very cool. The team I'm going to use today is going to be Painkeeper and Maneater. That's, as ever on these budget unkillables, the kind of standing point. We've got a Painkeeper here who is going to have 224 speed. I've put all of this stuff into one of the speed calculators. There's leeway, but I would plug your own speeds into the calculator and make sure that it works. I'll show you what I mean by make sure it works in a minute, because I've moved up a couple of speed, come down a couple of speed from what Smooth showed me, and it still works. So it's important to play around with your own speeds, your own stats based on your gear, and make sure it still sinks in the calculator. But we've got 224 speed Painkeeper. Make sure the HP is not too high. Make sure the defense is reasonably high. So 3k defense is your aim. 30 to 35k is probably your aim for health. Once those things happen, get as much damage as you can. That's the kind of rule for unkillable teams. So the Maneater then, I've leveled to level 50 so that he's not an insane sort of setup. 251 speed on the Maneater. This is the hardest part of the build to get to that 251. It probably means you're going to gimp a lot of your other stuff if you're still relatively low level. But I've gone 251 speed, 2.6k roughly defense, 31k HP. And then I've just gone into crits. So I've actually gone for crit rate gloves, but the rest of it is just kind of like standard gear. You don't have to have crit rate gloves, it just improves your damage. I'll show you the masteries on these two as well, actually, just so you can see what I'm running. Masteries here for Painkeeper. You don't want any turn meter masteries on. You don't want... you do actually... Life Drink is not bad here for Painkeeper, but you don't want to have any turn meter masteries on your Painkeeper. This is what I run. Let's keep me out of the way a little bit here. So I've actually changed up Painkeeper's mastery here to go into Life Drinker as well. I did a couple of runs and it just caused me problems to not have it on. So I've changed it up. This is like a late addition. Maneater, I am running... Obviously he's not tier 6, he's only 5-star. So I'm running these masteries. This is quite a standard kind of setup for unkillable. I'll show you the masteries on all of them actually. We're running a Frozen Banshee, similar sort of setup. She has got Life Drinker. We're running a Grave Chill, similar setup, but Grave Chill cannot have Life Drinker. She's your slow bob. She's going to be your stun target, so she has to make sure she doesn't get a load of life steal back. And then I'm running a Creeler, but any of the ally attack champions except Lanicus can work for this comp. So my Creeler has got these masteries. You do not want counter-attack in Retribution on your Creeler. You don't want any additional chances to hit because she places a shield when she hits with an A1. That can throw your stuff out. So I've left this one off. Okay, so let's show you the rest of the builds. Let's move me back where I was. So let's start Frozen Banshee then. Frozen Banshee is at 234 speed. After that, after I've got the accuracy right and the speed right, I've then made sure she's got an okay amount of defense, HP, and after that we've gone for damage. I've then got Grave Chill as my slow champion. She's my stun target, 124 speed, 111 crit, so I've gone for crit there, and accuracy is through the roof. Low defense, higher HP, that's what we've done. And then Creeler is my ally attacker in this setup. So Creeler's going to be bringing me increased attack. She's going to be bringing me ally attacks. She's in lifesteal. She doesn't need to be. Just did that because she was already in it for my set. 174 speed, 3.3k defense, 32k HP, and then it's damage. I've put all of those stats into a stun calculator. Yeah, and you're going to need to do the same. I'll link this below. But all of this stuff, the stun calculator, the speed calculators, they're all on Deadwood Jedi's website, which is brilliant, by the way. And I've plugged in all of my speeds as well into this tool. So there's a CB calculator on Deadwood Jedi's site. There's also guides and resources stun calculator in here as well. So you can find it all on Deadwood Jedi's site. I've pumped all of these speeds in. I've pumped the HP levels and defense levels in to tell me who's taking the stun. And you'll see here for Ultra Nightmare, my setup, I'll run through it in a second. But the main thing is to follow the setup until you get to the second time that Maneater puts his Unkillable on, then it's full auto. And then on Nightmare Clan Boss, it's basically the same, apart from you need to increase your Creeler's speed by 10. And then the setup is slightly different. And again, I'll show that in the video here. So you can actually run the same team. As long as you've got one piece of gear, you can swap in for Creeler, give her 10 more speed. The setup's slightly different, which I'll show you. But all of it works, and they sync in perfectly on both. So let's show you the runs. Let's show you some of this stuff in action, which is what you want to know. Get rid of this and get it going. No thanks. Right, let's go. Clan Boss. So for me, I've never seen a run before where an ally attacker can actually come into the mix, which is brilliant because it just means for those people that are slightly struggling with the damage levels on these unkillable setups, if you don't have strong damage dealers or if you don't have like full masteries and stuff like that, this might just get you over the edge. So I'm going to have her... I'm actually going to have Frozen Banshee as my lead for the accuracy bonus. I've got my new Maneater here, only level 50. Let's do the start. So make sure you don't come in and automatically go on auto because you're probably going to ruin your run. Click that off. And then the setup for Ultra Nightmare is Maneater straight into his A3. Frozen Banshee, all your damage dealers can just do whatever they want, but Frozen Banshee gets their damage going. You want to go A1 on your Painkeeper. Then the Clan Boss gets his turn. You want to go A1 for Creeler's first move. She will give your Maneater a little shield at the start, which is actually kind of useful, so that he does not have a risk of becoming the stun target. A2 here, just for a bit more damage. We can then either go drop defense, or we can get more poison going. I think I will get more poison going at this stage. More poison with Frozen Banshee. At this point, your Painkeeper does her A2, so she does a heal. This is earlier than you'd normally see it in runs. Be aware. A1 here with Maneater. We do A3 with our Creeler. Gives us our increased attack and crit rate. We then do our A1 again with Painkeeper. This is really important, so we get a bit more turn meter boost here. A1 obviously can't do anything else. The stun already is going onto my Grave Chill. If it didn't go onto Grave Chill, it would have come onto my Frozen Banshee, so I've got no risk of the two people that I cannot be stunned. You cannot have your Maneater or your Painkeeper stunned. If they get stunned, you're going to ruin your run. Frozen Banshee's poison sensitivity going again. Right, let's just check where I'm at. Creeler's A2 at this stage. We're almost at full auto. Ally attack comes in. Even though we get the turn meter boost here, it's not going to throw your run out, which I thought it would, but it just doesn't. A3 with your Painkeeper, A3 with your Maneater, hit the auto, make a cup of tea, and away you go. So as I say, this is not something I've seen done before, and is actually pretty insanely good to be able to get an ally attacker into the mix on these ones, because I know that a lot of people that are doing these budget teams, they're struggling to get enough damage off and you're having to do multiple keys. With this team, I've seen it 2-key Ultra Nightmare very comfortably. Certainly if I put my best gear or at least strong gear on these champions, I would easily be doing a 2-key like 40 million plus damage. But you've seen the gear levels I've got on these guys. It's reasonable gear, but nothing crazy. So I'm going to play it through to the end. I'll show you the damage that we do, and then I'll show you the setup for Nightmare Clan Boss as well with the same team. Okay, guys, so I'm coming into my the end of my run, I've actually got a 2-key team right here. 2-key team running. And I really have not stacked these guys up with crazy stats. They're good stats, and I showed you them at the beginning, but they are not insane at all. And I've got a level 50 man-eater in the mix here. So one person without that War Master Mastery for good damage. But I've literally not touched it. It's run full auto all the way through, even with the ally attack with Painkeeper in the mix. So absolutely like game changer for me, because basically Kreela could be a Longbeard, it could be a Catacomb Counselor, doesn't matter. As long as you can hit the speeds, then you'll be absolutely fine to run any of those champions. And obviously, hitting 38 mil on Ultra Nightmare is insane. Frozen Banshee with the lion's share of the damage. Frozen Banshee could be a Cult Brawler. Grave Shield could be a Cult Brawler. It doesn't matter. So yeah, very, very cool. Very cool setup. We're going to show the same team now on Nightmare. All I need to do is add 10 more speed onto my Kreela. So Kreela currently is at 174. We're going to be picking her up to 184. So if I was any good at my job, I would have already got the pieces ready to do this. But I'm not. So here we go. I need to find 10 speed on a set of crit rate gloves. Is that going to happen? If it's in, that's way too fast. Doesn't even matter if it's in lifesteal. That wasn't a kind of requirement. $12. I'm just going to check and see if 12 works. This is what I say where there is a bit of flex in the builds. So what I'm looking for to see if it works on my setup is, see here, I've got it on 184. What I'm looking for is when it sinks in, and it sinks in for Nightmare at turn 6, I'm looking to see if Man-Eater has his A3 kicking in right before AoE 1. That's when this is working. So if I then flick down, AoE 1 a bit later on, still working there, still working there. See that? What I then do is put Kreela up to 186 and see if I flex her gear up a touch. Is that going to work for me? Still kicking in there, still kicking in there, still kicking in there. So you guys can do the same sort of thing. If your gear doesn't quite land on these numbers, then see how close you are. Try and be within 1 or 2 and just adjust this calculator and see if it still kicks in. That's all I do. So 186 does work. So we're going to put those on. 186. The rest of it's still good. And then we're going to jump into Nightmare. Right then, guys. So onto Nightmare. All I've done is I've switched my leaders over. I don't need Frozen Banshee's Accuracy Aura for Nightmare, and Grave Chill. I want Grave Chill to take the stun early on. And you'll see why it's slightly different. So I'm going to run through the setup again. A1 Man-Eater. We start getting our damage going straight away with the A3 on Frozen Banshee. A1 Painkeeper. A1 Kreela. Got to be careful with Kreela, because Kreela's putting shields out, and that can throw you off a little bit. So that's why it's important to follow this setup. A3 Man-Eater. Start of turn 1. We've then got A2 coming on for Grave Chill. A1, of course, for the poisons. We've then got another A1 Painkeeper. An A2 now on Kreela, which gives us our first ally attack. Get some poisons going. A2 with the Man-Eater. Next AoE. Then got simple A1. A1 again for Painkeeper. A1 for Man-Eater. Kreela with another A1. A3 on your on your Grave Chill, sorry. A3 with your Frozen Banshee. Now this is the important one. So A2 with your Painkeeper right before the slam. Tops everyone's health right up. The stun will come onto your lead at this point. Really important there. Okay, let's move a bit further down. Setup's nearly done. A1 with Man-Eater. We now do our A3 with Kreela. Gets our increased attack up and crit rate. A1 with Frozen Banshee. We now do our A3 with Painkeeper. A3 with Man-Eater. And then we're auto. So the first few rounds, this is much tighter. It's much tighter to get your stun off. So you just need to make sure that the levels you've got, basically the clan boss hits way softer in Nightmare than he does in Ultra Nightmare early on. So you've got a load more risk points for people taking the stun aside your slow bob, which is why you really want your slow bob in the lead position in this setup. You see there, the first few times, because we're not taking that much damage, Painkeeper heals you up to full for the first few times. So you always will get the stun on your low bob. A bit later on when you're taking more damage, it will all sink in fine anyway. But it's those first few turns where you're at risk. So I'm going to let this play through, and then you can see the results at the other end. So here we have it, guys. We're turning in now to turn 46. The team is still running beautifully. So we've got a team that's running on Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare, getting plenty of damage out. This is close to a 1 key. It's probably not going to quite be a 1 key, but with a little bit more. Well, if you had Man-Eater as a 6-star, it definitely is. If I had a bit more crit and stuff going on, it definitely is. But it's so damn close anyway that it would just be tweaking gear to make it happen. So awesome. Thank you, Smooth, for showing me this comp. It does open up the opportunity for people to do just a bit more damage, have a more achievable kind of time of getting those 3-key Ultra Nightmares done and the 1 or 2 key Nightmares. But yeah, top chests coming your way. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I've been Hell Hades. I'll add this to my tier list. I've got a tier list which has got unkillables on it. So it's actually my same my same champion tier list where I've got all of my champion stats. You see at the bottom here, there's a tab that's called Unkillable Teams. I will add this team onto it. There's a bunch more where I've done videos. There's a link to the videos. So guys, look, that's been my team on the new budget Man-Eater comp. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you later.